Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of That Sounds Fun. I'm your host, Annie F. Downs. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today, we sadly wrap up our special series called Build Your Board. You guys, we have loved this series and all the friends we've gotten to sit down with, and it means a lot that you have too. Thank you for sharing with us what you've been learning, what mattered to you, and what you're working through in your guidebook. And hey, we get that it's a busy season and you may be wanting to work through the guidebook and don't have time yet. It will always be available to you at anniefdowns.com/buildyourboard. So if you want to circle back to it at the end of the year as you're reflecting on 2023 or prepping for 24, just go for it. And remember, there is also that quiz on anniefdowns.com/buildyourboard that will tell you what board member you may need to add next. It is really fun and very insightful. No matter what, we hope Build Your Board has given you a chance to figure out the next voice you need to help you build the life you want. And today's episode is the perfect way for us to finish this series and finish this thinking and this process of figuring out who comes next and who we are letting influence us. Before we dive into today's conversation, I want to tell you about one of our incredible sponsors. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you've had a chance to listen through the whole Build Your Board series, you know we got to talk with one of my favorite therapists, Melanie Rogers, and ask her some of the basic questions about therapy and how to get started. What she shared was so helpful. And if you're considering therapy, give BetterHelp a try. BetterHelp allows you to do your sessions right from your house, and they make it so easy to get started. You know, therapy has been so crucial for me. I am a huge fan. With BetterHelp, you just fill out a brief questionnaire. We love a quiz, and they match you with a licensed therapist based on your answers. Finding a therapist that is the right fit for you is so important. And you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So you're sure to be working with someone who is a good match. It's done entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and fit in your schedule. Be a good friend to yourself and your brain with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/thatsoundsfun today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thatsoundsfun. Today on the show, we finish up our Build Your Board series with two of my favorites, Devin and Hunter Cordle. As we've talked about making sure you're choosing who is influencing you in this world of influencers, we couldn't wrap up this series without talking about social media. Y'all know how much of an impact social media has on us, on me and you. And while it's something I'm so grateful for because it means I get to stay connected to you and hear from you, we also want to manage it well. When we're thinking about building our board, what role does social media get to play? It includes a lot of voices, some we want to listen to often and some we don't. So how do we figure out the right boundaries for social media as well as find ways to learn from people who both think like us and those who don't? So today I invited Devin and Hunter Cordle, known as the Cordle family, to join us for this conversation. If you're not familiar with them, go look them up on social media right now because they are just a bright spot in my feed. Devin's probably best known for her hilarious Grinch impression, but man, these two love God and are also navigating being influencers and figuring out how to do it well while not losing their souls along the way. This is such an insightful conversation for those of us who are creating content and those of us who are taking in content. I feel like I learned so much from Devin and Hunter. If you're following along with us in the Build Your Board Guidebook, you're going to be taking notes for this one on page 16. So here is my Build Your Board conversation with Hunter and Devin Cordle. Hunter and Devin, welcome to That Sounds Fun.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I mean, celebs.com. I'm very honored.
We're honored.
Yes, we're honored.
I'm just merely disappointed you aren't dressed like the Grinch, both of you.
I should have, as my first impression to you, been like,
that literally was your first impression to me. Last year at Christmas, I watched you do the Grinch thing, and I was like, I don't know her, but I love her.
Oh.
And I need her in my life. And then y'all, I mean, will you kind of back us up? I mean, y'all have a gazillion followers across TikTok, Instagram, social media. How did this start?
Yeah, it started 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
That's it? It's only been 2 years?
Right.
Almost, yeah. I think December, the end of December will be 2 years ago.
Oh,
when we kind of took off.
You're right.
Found our niche, I would say. It started off as a thing to do. I was a stay-at-home mom and had a lot of baby blues. And so I knew I wasn't going back to work and I needed something to kind of take up my time and make me feel I don't know, have fun.
Yeah.
And then I just started making a lot of cheesy mom content on TikTok. So if you go back to the very beginning, it's way different than what it looks like now.
Yeah.
And then he was a firefighter, and so he was never in our videos. And then we said December, January, he just started kind of recording me normal things that we always did. And I just decided to post it. And it was my reaction to his mustache. And in a month from 25,000 followers to 1 million followers in a month.
In a month?
In a month. Yeah, it was a wild experience.
What is going on behind the scenes with like your actual friends watching this happen? When they're seeing your numbers do that, what's going on in your like social circle?
Everybody was just shocked.
Yeah.
I just remember it just happened so fast. It happened fast for everybody because they were all watching it with us, watching the numbers. They would every day be like, oh my gosh, you've gained this many followers, or it was just wild. And they've always been so sweet and supportive. They actually surprised us. We had like a little party, a countdown when we hit 1 million.
Yeah.
And they surprised us with like balloons and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was sweet. Just still a Twilight Zone experience, to say the least.
Yeah, tell me about, does a challenge come to either of your minds in that season, in that month of going from 25,000 to 1 million? Was there one moment where you're both like, I don't know about this?
I'm trying to think. We were living with his mom at the time.
Yeah.
And so she was watching it unfold in front of her eyes. And I wouldn't say, I don't know if the challenge yet had started because it felt so fast. And it was, we knew it was a God thing because for months, I felt like I didn't know what it was, but I remember God saying, like, I'm going to lift you up so you can lift me up. And so it was almost like I knew it was just supposed to happen. And so in all those moments, even though it was wild from the worldly stance, the number wise, I was like, our audience is of 1. And so we just had such a peace because we knew it was supposed to happen. Is the best way to put it. Now challenges did come soon after that month, I think, of just kind of keeping us aligned with what God wanted versus the world and making sure we're giving all glory to him. Yeah.
I mean, Hunter, are you still a firefighter that whole time?
I was up until October of last year. So it's now been a year that we've been both like full-time social media.
But for months, you were a firefighter.
For December, January is when we really kind of, like we said, kind of blew up or whatever. All the way until October the 8th was my last shift last year. So
I do feel like you had challenges because of your job.
Yeah.
It just, people were, you can speak on that.
I mean, you know, the typical firehouse, like people making jokes and everything, which I was all for it. You know, it doesn't really it didn't bother me. But it was kind of a decision that I had to make where I felt like I was at like a crossroads. Like I'm either gonna, you know, stay at the firehouse and like, you know, do my career, or I'm gonna have to stop and go all in on this. And that's obviously what I chose.
Man, that crossroads though has to be so intense of like, do we dive into being public people as our career? Or do we maintain some sort of safe, I mean, a fireman, but some sort of safe income?
100%,
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. It was a hard decision, and it was one that, you know, that I spent a lot of time thinking about and praying about, but in the end, I definitely felt like the Lord was calling me out of that and into this. Even though that's never what I imagined for me, especially. I'm like, okay, you can do it, but like, I don't know about me, you know, but anyway, here we are. So
I know, because when we started, he said, well, I'm still going to be a firefighter to have like a safety net, basically. Because everybody was like, oh, social media is not going to last.
Right.
And so he kept that, but then it was just the more and more he's like, oh, I don't know, man. I feel this pull. And so it just I was just having to pray for him to make that decision too, because, you know, of course I wanted him home with me. But that's up between you and God.
So talk about that for a minute, if y'all don't mind, because there are so many people listening who aren't like dealing with 1 million followers on Instagram, but are trying to decide whether to leave the career they're in to stay home with their kids or leave the career they're in for something else they want to try. Did you hear like God in your ear, or was it just like, okay, everything's lining up, it feels like a yes, and we're going to jump?
Yes, it was more like that. It was like I said, I had been thinking about it, praying about it for a while, asking like people's opinions and, especially godly people's opinions.
That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we had actually had like a week long, I was actually on vacation from work. We had like a week long little vacation, and we had some of our really good friends that were with us, and we spent a lot of time like talking about it. And one of them had recently had a similar situation. And so we left that place and we were like, okay, like I think this is what I need to do. And then that very next Sunday we went to church, and literally the message was about like putting the past behind you kind of thing, and like,
won't he do it?
Yes, welcoming something new like into your life if that's what you need kind of thing. And so I was like, well, and I literally quit the next day.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, that was it. That was like the final confirmation right there.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And so, I mean, Devin, what are the challenges? Because there's so many people, I'm thinking about our friends listening who have 49.5 thousand followers on Instagram. And they're like, if I could just get to 100, if I could get to 100,000, or they have 950. And if they think if I could get to 1,000, this would be awesome. But there's this like, I've had one pretty nasty run-in with the internet getting upset with me. And it put me in some deep counseling for about a year.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so that's only happened to me once, but y'all have had to have those challenges and those run-ins with people being unkind, people being, and it just not being all the good parts.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And so I feel like when we started, I knew the internet was mean. I know the internet was mean. And so I feel like the first month or two, it was just, you were flooded with all the positive. Mm-hmm. And yes, there were some, it was almost like getting me a little warm to the mean people.
Yeah.
The trolls, as you would say. And then the further it got on, it was just, you see how cruel the world can be. And a lot of times they just don't like you for your personality, or you look this way, or how you act, and our faith. And so things like that got harder. And then that's when I feel like I opened up about this a little bit ago. The first few months after we hit 1 million followers, and it was just, you think it would have been the best time ever. That was actually when I was at my worst mentally. Wow. I struggled a lot. I started feeling I got really anxious about things. I was worried, and I had to really do a self-reflection of where my identity was. And because it's so easy to get caught up in the world, especially your life being so public. And so I feel like God was like reeling me back in. I really had to humble myself and just let him show me who I was, because whenever I know who I am, it doesn't matter what they say, as cliche as it is, because it's so true. But yeah, I would say it was hard. It was hard for a little bit. Even things about Ivy online, like what people would say about her. And so that's why we kind of stopped posting her.
Yeah, I noticed that y'all don't post her. I mean, sometimes she'll run through, but you aren't doing things where she's the middle of it.
Yes, right. Because I used to just post because I'm like, we just love her and she's so cute and we want to share her. But now we're like, we can't do that. The world's not innocent at all.
So, I've talked to some other creators who are really like, we don't read our comments. We don't get in our DMs. I don't read my DMs. I mean, what kind of boundaries have y'all drawn? Or is it like, we'll check during the workday, but after 5 p.m., we're off? Like, what kind of boundaries y'all have around protecting your mental health in this?
Yeah. He is the comment replier, reader, replier. It's almost, I've learned the first 10 minutes of you posting a video, all the good stuff, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I'll reply to those and be like, oh, love ya. And then I get off. And I think we both cut off at a certain time.
Yeah.
Well, now I have my sister helping me go through DMs, because as much as there's flooded with lovely messages and I want to like speak to those people, it got to the point where if I saw even one bad message, it just really got to me. So
I know.
Yeah. And so boundaries, just like, we don't really read comments anymore. I do not Google myself. I've learned to not do that.
Yeah.
People who do that, I'm like, how does that serve you at all? What are you learning that you don't know?
Yes. Yeah. I've had people, they'll send me stuff. And so I've had to tell people, I'm like, hey, I love you. Just I don't want to see it, you know?
Yeah.
Unless it like is so detrimental and I need to fix something. But
Totally.
other than that, you don't know you don't see, I guess.
Yeah. Hunter, where's the line when you see a negative comment? Because every one of us, whether we have 8 followers or 800,000 followers, has a bot show up every now and again or a troll show up every now and again. And even in sly ways. They're not trying to be trolly, but you know what I mean? And so what do you do, Hunter? Are you mad? Do you let them go? Do you respond? Like, how do you handle the people who are maybe hurt in their own ways and they don't know how to respond except out into hurt?
Yeah, so I don't reply to most of them, especially the ones where you can tell, like, you know, the saying, like, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
So somebody that has like really gone out of their way to like write this long comment about us, I'm just like, oh, what, you know, I don't say anything. But the people that'll say something like, we get this one a lot about Devin. It's like, oh, she acts like a first grader or something like that. And I'll reply back and be like, well, I was thinking more of a third grader, but okay. People that say things like that, like I'll reply something back to them. Like that,
right.
But, yeah.
That's funny. He keeps it light.
Yeah.
You know,
and most of the time they'll end up deleting their comment. You know,
that's right.
The people that are trying to be something fast.
Yeah.
And you know, they'll delete it or they'll be like, oh, I didn't mean it that way or something. You know?
Yeah, typically if you reply to one of the trolls, they'll reply, either delete it or reply back with a nice comment.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
They're like, do you though?
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll forgive ya.
Yeah, thank you. They'd be like, thank you so much for responding. I was hoping that's what you thought. And I'm like, girl. Listen.
Yeah.
What's the joy of it? Because y'all are way over 1 million followers. Are y'all at how many millions on Twitter? Twitter. No, none. How many millions on TikTok?
It's at 4.7
I
now.
think. Yeah.
Jeez, you guys.
That's crazy.
It's wild. We'll go to a stadium.
2 years.
Yes.
That is crazy. Yeah. So what's the joy side of it? What's the best part of having this level of influence in people's lives?
Yeah, I think I love meeting people. So in public, when people come up to us.
Do you? It doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me either. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. And that's what a lot of time people will message me. Oh my gosh, I saw you here and I didn't want to bother you. And I respect that because there are some days where I go out and I'm just so tired and I feel pressure to sometimes like be put on, you know, like if I'm in a sad mood, but I'm like, I need to be really happy. So I never want their opinion to be warped of me. And that's something I'm dealing with on my own.
Right.
But the joys of just like having the sweet DMs of, you know, I just started reading my Bible because of you. And that makes me feel like I am living out my purpose that God has for me in those ways.
Yeah.
And then just like getting to stay home and be with Ivy a lot. I would say that.
Yeah, I would say pretty much the same things, like just being able to spread the gospel. Not that we're always like necessarily preaching, but we hope and pray that like people can see the Lord through us, like through our fruits, and also being able to stay home together, being able to parent together, you know, full time. And then I will say that like I love when Devin meets people and they're like matching her energy. Yeah. She's kind of a high energy person. So when like girls come up to her and they just like have this little moment, it's so funny to me because like they've never met each other, you know, but they act like they've been best friends since they were 5 and they just hit it off. And that is so funny and so much fun to watch.
Sweet.
But
knowing we were talking today, I thought, I feel like I know them because I watch you all the time, but also I think our personalities are going to be fun. Like, I mean, so it's the same thing even when we do this, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're hitting it off. Like we've talked and gone on lots of coffee dates and stuff.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's really, I mean, it's a fascinating thing will you talk for a minute, Devin, about that or trying to manage people's perception of you? Everyone sees you in your Grinch suit or getting ready in the morning or, you know, just being the wild third grader that you are. And then, right. So you're at the grocery store just trying to get all the groceries. And in your mind, you're saying, I've got to be the me that they see on their screen.
Yes. Right. I think because of comments we've gotten in the past, be like, oh, I bet she's not like this in person or whatever. Things like that is why. And so I do have such a peace about it now because we do YouTube and all that. And I'm like, if people watch, like I am 100% myself all the time. There are moments where I'm not as energetic, because who can be like that all the time?
Right.
And so I've just gotten to there has always been that fear of in public. I never wanted to disappoint somebody. Like if that's their first impression of me and say something I'm just sad or whatever. And then I like make them feel, I don't know.
Yeah. Make them feel like differently towards you.
Just because I was having a bad moment or a bad day,
Yeah.
Because that shows like the influence people have just when you go to a coffee shop and if somebody is in a bad mood, you're like, oh, it gets you. And I never want to be somebody's crutch or somebody's reason to have a bad day, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But I've gotten to where I'm like, I am me. I'm me if I'm sad, I'm me if I'm just not as energetic.
Yeah.
So,
do you know the other person I've talked to that talked a lot about this was Jonathan Rumi from The Chosen, who plays
really?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's like, when people meet me, no matter what day I'm having, they feel like they're meeting Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
So the pressure, it is really interesting. It's a pressure. This is a weird analogy, but I think a lot about how my grandparents would never understand this.
Yeah.
Right? Like the pressure y'all feel to go to a coffee shop and make sure you are who you want to be perceived is something we can't actually, that's too much to hold.
It is. It's a heavy weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Hey friends, just interrupting this conversation to share about one of our amazing partners, HelloFresh. Oh, I just ate it for lunch, you guys. It was so good. I love that HelloFresh takes the grocery shopping work and the thinking about what I need to buy and make work out of the equation. Plus, their meals are so good. And get this, HelloFresh is 25% cheaper than takeout and less expensive than grocery shopping too. It is a win all around. All you do is choose your recipes for the week and they ship you fresh, pre-portioned ingredients so you can cook and start eating quickly. And if you're stuck in a recipe rut, try something new with 40 recipes to choose from every week. Even with the pickiest eaters, you'll always find meals everyone at the table will enjoy. Even though the fall can be so jam-packed, HelloFresh makes whipping up a home-cooked dinner or lunch actually doable with the quick and easy options, including their 15-minute meals. It really is a no-brainer. You can also turn to HelloFresh Market for some really good add-ons and enjoy the season's limited-time fall lineup, like the apple cider cake. I'm interested. Barbecue pulled pork nachos and mini pumpkin cheesecake. Okay, sign me up. So go to HelloFresh.com/50TSF and use the code 50TSF for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50TSF and use the code 50TSF for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit and Annie's #1 meal kit. That is for sure. And I've got one more amazing partner to tell you about, Liquid IV. From long Zoom meetings, yes, that is me, and workouts, yep, and travel days, also me. Liquid IV makes it so easy to stay hydrated, and I am grateful. You don't have to be an athlete to need extra hydration throughout your day. I'm a fan of Liquid IV, and so is our whole office. I think we've literally tried every flavor at this point. We all have our different favorites that stay stocked in our kitchen, and I drink their energy multiplier almost every morning. Liquid IV has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients for everyday wellness. It hydrates 2 times faster than water alone, and it's all in a single stick that you just add to your water bottle. And now their hydration multiplier comes in 3 delicious sugar-free flavors: white peach, green grape, and lemon lime, a proprietary zero sugar hydration solution with no artificial sweeteners. It's awesome. So grab your Liquid IV hydration multiplier sugar-free in bulk nationwide next time you're at Costco, or you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code ThatSoundsFun at checkout. That's 20% off of anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using the promo code ThatSoundsFun at liquidiv.com. That link and pretty much every other link you could ever hope for are in the show notes, or we will send them to you in Friday's AFD Week in Review email, and you can sign up to get that as well in the show notes. Okay, now back to our Build Your Board conversation with Hunter and Devin.
That sounds fun.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about Jesus for you, not just because of Jonathan Rumi, but also because we are faith people.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a calling God could have given us a generation ago to like be public figures on social media.
Yeah.
So what has he invited you to do? What do you feel called to do in the online space?
So months before it all started, I was reading a book called the Deborah Anointing Book, and just
I
read
love
about.
Deborah. I haven't read it.
I
Is it
love
so
her.
good?
Love her. Yes. I'll send you the link. But I just love her. She was called to influence many and over men and women and an army. And so it was just talking about your influence and being influenced to many. And I feel like at the same time, God was like telling me that like you're going to be an influence to many. And so ironically, the word influencer, I didn't know what that looked like. And so now I am an influencer, but I just love that we can be a light in a space that is full of a lot of darkness. And like Hunter said earlier, in whatever ways that was, because I did struggle in the beginning. I was like, oh, I need to make sure we, preach basically, or I was doing a lot of Bible recaps, but I felt like I was doing it just so people knew that I was Christian or whatever. Yeah. And then I didn't want to disappoint God by,
girl.
Anyways, my quiet time became my posting time. Like I was like, oh, I got to read this scripture so I can share it. And the Lord spoke to both of us and he said, like, it's okay. They'll know you by your fruits. And so I just love that we can be in a space to influence just by having the fruits of the Spirit,
Yeah. Hunter, I'm thinking about, did you ever dream as you were a kid that you'd end up being a pastor? Because it's kind of what y'all do. You kind of pastor people. Was that like part of what was in you as a kid?
Definitely not. Definitely not. It's been a big adjustment. And even like kind of going back to the meeting thing, like I've always been an introvert. My dad is the complete opposite, right? So when I was growing up, he would be encouraging me to talk to people and, do this and that. Whereas my dad would talk to a wall if you'd let him pretty much, and that's just not me. And so I was comfortable in my job as a firefighter if I know somebody, but I'm fine talking to them, but it's meeting people and sharing myself with people that I don't know. And now that's literally what we both do.
So public.
Yes. For millions. Millions.
So. Yeah, that's wild. And he still, when he meets people, he's just like, he's hit, we just balance each other so well.
Yeah.
In public, he's like, you can do all the talking and I'll say hi.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When I meet people and it's just me, I'm like, sorry, Devin's not with me. Like,
have a good day.
Yeah.
But also y'all been together since like middle school or something, right? Haven't y'all been together forever?
Ever. 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8th grade. End of 8th grade was when we got together.
My gosh. I don't know if y'all say what city you live in, but will you say like what state you live in? How much do you tell about where you live?
Oh yeah. Dothan, Alabama. It's
Dothan,
the capital of the world. Yeah.
Girl, I know. I'm from Georgia. I know Dothan.
Yeah.
I've driven through there. I know that spot. So, because I'm thinking even through like the kindness of God is that he partnered y'all up to grow up together.
Yeah.
And so in some ways it feels like he let y'all grow up together in private for 9 years, 8 years, and now you continue to grow together in public.
Yeah, I've never even thought of it like that because that's so true.
That is true.
And because our testimony as a couple too, we know God let us meet at that age. And even though it was like cheesy boyfriend, girlfriend, I say Hunter being in my life saved me from a lot of situations that could have went a whole different way. And so, and vice versa, like us getting into church it was like we influence each other in a way, and then we had to realize okay, if we want this to work, we've got to put God first. And then everything else will fall into order how it should.
Yeah.
So God's taught us a lot in those years of before we got married. And then, that thought you said that stuck to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful. Did y'all meet at school? Where'd you meet in 8th grade?
Through mutual. My sister was dating a guy who rode dirt bikes with Hunter.
Yeah.
Great.
And so it was just mutual.
Yeah, Hunter, will you talk to me about this dirt bike life? Because it feels like as a follower, pre-friendship, my followership was showing me that like suddenly you're like pro racing, sort of.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Are you talking about like in LA at the Coliseum thing?
Yeah.
Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just, I mean, it was a like really awesome opportunity. That was something that was like on my bucket list, but it wasn't because I didn't know that it would ever be a possibility, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful that they actually invited me and a few other creators and a few other like people of the industry that are creators in the industry. They invited us out there to ride a little bit at that track, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I have a lot of people thinking like they're like, "Oh, are you going to go pro?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. Not nearly good enough."
Yeah. but I love that he's picked that hobby back up.
Yeah.
Because
that's what I grew up doing, like as my sport. I played baseball like here and there as a little kid, and then in high school, and that was it. Like pretty much my entire childhood was just involved with like riding and racing dirt bikes pretty much every weekend.
Yeah.
So it's been nice to be able to pick that back up. And that was kind of one of the things that we agreed on that I could do. Like when I left the fire department, I'm like, I got to have like a little, not necessarily away time, but like some guy time, you know, and I'm like, I always wanted to pick it back up. And so that was kind of the perfect opportunity when I left the fire department. So it's been a fun year, I guess you could say.
It's very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
I know you're so much better than you let on.
Oh, thanks.
He's humble.
I mean, I thought you were pro. What do I know? Will you talk to me a little bit about, you know, in this series, this Build Your Board series that we've been doing all of October, we're talking about the voices that speak into our lives. What are the mentors like for you, and who's pastoring you? Because there aren't like 50 and 60-year-old influencers who can walk you through what it's like. So how are you getting invested in? Who's speaking into y'all's lives?
Honestly, just family and friends here. Like my mom is, even though, you know, she had to learn all about this when we started, but just the spiritual leader that she's always been. Yeah. And so that just carries through this, you know, it doesn't, to her, I could be doing a different job, but the same, I guess, like take away the job, the problems with it are still so what everybody else would experience in ways.
That's right.
On maybe even on a lower scale or whatever, people watching. But my mom and our pastors at our church, and like I said, even if they don't understand it, they're just spiritual leaders. And then friends who also are mutuals, as you would call it, on social media that love the Lord and stuff. They also play a big role in that. Just because we can even send a text and be like, I'm having a hard day with this. I kind of want to quit. And then they just give encouragement, you know, like we're all in it together in a way. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's so helpful because we've talked about that in our discipleship episodes of like Nancy, who mentors me, is married with kids and I'm not married yet. But then the girl I mentor is also married with kids. And so it's very easy to be like, you don't have to be like the person who disciples you to be discipled toward Christ.
Yes. Right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So I think that's so helpful. Okay. Tell me how do you decide who you follow online? Like, who are the voices that you are watching online? Are you just following your peers, or are you careful about who you follow?
I think initially, I mean, are we?
I would say
it's almost like peers we would follow and stuff. But
we follow people that have like interests of us. And I don't think that that's like completely intentional. It's just, that's what we end up doing.
Yeah.
So
I would say, even if there are people we know aren't Christian or live like we do, that hasn't stopped us from following them.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I feel like we're called to love everybody in ways, even if we don't agree with what they're doing or how they do it. Yeah. But now, as far as content I take in, I have had to stop, like TikTok, for example, on the For You page. All of a sudden, I'm getting videos of people leaving their religion, leaving Christianity. Wow. And I would get so sucked into those videos. And God's like, Devin, why are you watching these? Like, get it out of this, girl, because that video is doing nothing for me. It's filling me up with doubt and fear and more questions. And it wasn't. So now I'm very careful with just shows I watch or videos I watch online, because those do have an influence, whether we realize it or not. Like, I was not realizing how bad of an influence it was having on me. And I had to recently crawl out of that one.
Yeah. Absolutely. You have to. I mean, that's the only way is I'm the same way where I can pay attention to something or not be paying attention to something. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, every video I just watched is about changing your body, or every video I just watched is about being unhappy, being single. And then you're like, wait, why do I feel like changing my body? And why am I so unhappy? Can't imagine. It's because it's all I'm taking in. Right. Yeah. And so, Hunter, talk to me a little bit about boundaries you have with your phone. Help me, Hunter, is what I'm saying. How do I put TikTok down? Because I had TikTok for a while, but I wasn't sleeping enough. And so I had to delete it. I feel safe to bring it back. But what kind of boundaries do y'all have around social media time and how much your phone is in your hand?
Yeah. So what I do the same thing. My thing is Instagram. Like, I'll just, instead of TikTok, I'll scroll Instagram reels. That's what I'm really bad about. But I've found that if I have something else to do, especially if it's not like work related, like, and what I mean is, like, if I buy a book, if I go out of my way to buy something, to get myself something else to hold in my hands that I can physically do, like late at night when we don't really have anything going on, then I will do that thing. And to me, it's like, I'll even, back to the dirt bike thing, like I just bought a new like dirt bike video game the other night because I'm watching too many Instagram reels. So like, if I don't have a book, if I don't have something, I've already done my like study, my Bible time for the day. Like, it's better for me to play this dirt bike video game than it is to scroll these Instagram reels. Right?
Yeah.
You know? Like, so that's what I do. And that's what's helped me.
Yeah. That's good. Devin, talk to me about, like you said, that you were realizing your quiet time was your posting time. Literally this morning, I sat in that chair, and as soon as you open your phone, work starts. I mean, as soon as I opened my phone, I was just going to look up something, and I touched the Instagram button, and then my 25 minutes of reading my Bible were gone. But I had seen a lot of reels, and I had posted, so I'm getting my work done, but I lost all my quiet time.
So it's hard.
Help me. What are you doing to make sure you're still getting your time with the Lord and doing your job?
And I feel like this is going to be a constant thing, that because I'll go through a season of doing good with it, and then it's like I go right back to the struggle. I'm like, oh, I've got to get off the struggle. Yes, it's so I'm right there with you, but I have tried to, like, in the morning is whenever I have my quiet time the best, and so I don't even take my phone in here. I'll have, smart. I have an Omnipod, which is for my diabetes. So I'll like take that with me. So it kind of is like, feels like, it's almost like a nature habit, you know, but leaving it in there, because if I do not leave it in the bedroom, I will pick it up even during my quiet time, because my mind is like, oh, I'm up. What should I be doing today to be productive before Ivy wakes up or before, anyway, so it's hard. And so that has helped a lot, just not bringing it in there. But then sometimes I feel like I have to have it in there. And then also, like, I do not like Ivy to see us on our phones, because even though that's our work. And so a lot of times I'm like, she wants us to play with her, but I'm like sitting on my phone and I'm like, I promise I'm working. It don't look like I am. But so even just like our playtime, we want to be more intentional. So we just, not having my phone on me is the biggest help. So I don't just open it. Because I'll just realize I open it. I'm like, why did I just open the Facebook app? Like, I don't even get on Facebook.
Right. I know. It's like you buzz through the ones and you're like, why am I even doing this?
Right. Right. Well, because if you do, like how we can relate working from your phone, I'll open the email because I got something about shopping at Pottery Barn. But then I'm like, oh, that's from our managers. We need to read that and get started. You know, it's tough.
When did you realize you needed kind of a manager person? When did y'all add staff to what you are doing?
Month 1.
Yeah. We added
really, right? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess if you get 1 million followers, there it is.
Yeah. Well, we were so anti-managers at first.
So we were pretty anti-management at first, like she said.
We wanted to look humble.
And we had other friends that were like, hey, like people are starting to reach out about like brand deals and like how much do we charge, blah, blah, blah. And they're like giving us the rundown. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I guess we can negotiate over email. So we did a video for like $100, and we
Oh my
had
gosh.
A million followers.
almost a million followers at the time.
Which it's still a
Y'all.
blessing. You're like,
yeah,
oh,
which at the time
$100.
we're like $100. Like, this is
All we did
awesome.
was make a video. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then we talked to another couple reached out to us, and they were like, hey, like they had kind of been through what we had going through at the time. And they were like, hey, like you should really consider management. You know, this is our numbers is where we were, and now here we are, and blah, blah, blah. So we were like, okay, maybe we'll try it, you know. So
Yeah.
we had some meetings with a management agency, and then we ended up going with the one that
That couple
that
recommended.
couple had, and that
Yeah.
one that they
Oh, yeah.
recommended.
Mhm.
And it's been the best. We feel like very lucky and very blessed that we
haven't
got
had to change.
Yeah, we haven't had to
management.
change. Like a lot of our
Yeah.
mutuals have had to change management agencies, you know, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And we've been with the one since
Mhm.
day one. So
They've become like family now, so it's
Yeah.
been great.
Do y'all have staff in Dothan too?
My sister is my kind of assistant, but she lives in Kentucky, so it's just over the. But
Yeah.
other than that, no.
Just y'all and management.
Yeah.
yeah.
That is very impressive.
I know, but sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, we need help.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
are y'all, so you're editing all the videos yourselves?
Oh no,
wait,
we do
okay.
have we edit our short form videos, but
Yeah.
we have a long form YouTube video editor.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
He's
Man,
from
but y'all are
Georgia.
doing all the short form. That is a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, and that's what he's started to help me edit
Yeah.
because he's always wanted to help. He just didn't know how to edit, but then he's
Yeah.
learned now.
Yeah.
And so now we're both kind of. It takes a lot off just my
Mhm.
plate alone. But yeah, we really could use somebody to do short form. We've thought about it but then I just like having the control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
hard.
so y'all's personality too that you'll have to train somebody to speak Cordle before you hand them
Exactly.
your videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm very impressed that y'all do all that yourselves. That is so good. Okay, so what's the program to help our friends who are just starting on making TikToks? What program do you edit in? Do you edit in TikTok?
I use CapCut or TikTok.
CapCut,
Mostly CapCut,
okay.
and then I'll do captions and text overlay on TikTok. Very, simple edits. You just cut. And that's why I do enjoy our content because it's like our friends who do skits and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that
Yeah.
takes forever because ours is just so simple. He'll just pull the phone
Yeah.
out and record whatever we're doing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you got a video.
Yeah, the realness of y'all is really important. And you mentioned it a second ago, Devin, but will you talk a minute about how did you decide to go so public about having diabetes? And you often show, I mean, I think I've seen it maybe twice or 3 times when your body doesn't respond well, like you'll show what's happening. Is that scary to be that public about diabetes? Was that scary to talk about?
Honestly, no. And I think that a lot of people were saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And so I was more shocked that I think more people are not as vulnerable to share about it. Maybe they think it is embarrassing, or I'm not sure. It's almost like I got the diagnosis and I'm like, okay, well, I can help somebody else now.
Mhm.
You know, it was hard, but now that I have it, sharing has never been hard for me. But I do love I feel purposeful in that just by being able to help other people, not be like ashamed of it.
Yeah.
So
do y'all have, this is a tech question around your diabetes conversation. Do y'all have like a content calendar and you'll go, okay, once a month, I need to talk about diabetes. And twice a month, we need to make sure we're doing a cooking thing. And I'll do a get ready with me every Tuesday. Like, do you have a content calendar that's that specific?
No. That is, people ask us that stuff and we're just like, we just literally wing it. In which I feel like that is why sometimes it can feel stressful because we're like, oh, we don't have any videos to post. What do we do?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I guess I'll go do a get ready with me real quick. Or
got it.
Kind of just share how naturally it goes.
Mhm.
We have thought about, like, we have a content planner for our branded deals and things like that. But that's thanks to management. Like, they help us so much with that.
Yeah.
Everything else is just kind of
Off the cuff,
organic, how it flows.
Mhm.
So it can be a good and bad thing, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I think, I love it. I'm a fan. I'm in.
That sounds fun.
And I've got one last incredible partner to tell you about, Relief Band. Okay, one thing we can all agree on, nausea is truly the worst. And whether you're fighting it because you're prone to motion sickness or have a migraine, I'm sorry for both of those things, or if you have morning sickness, congratulations. Relief Band is the #1 FDA-cleared anti-nausea wristband that has been clinically proven to quickly relieve and effectively prevent nausea and vomiting. Relief Band is also natural, works quickly, and will last as long as you need it. Because you adjust the intensity depending on how you're feeling, and you can make it stronger or weaker. It's also 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, and has literally 0 side effects, y'all. You just wear a relief band on your wrist to give you relief from nausea during your cruise or road trip or pregnancy, so your trip isn't ruined, and neither is your day. Remember, you don't have to overplan for nausea relief or dose up 6 hours before a trip. Just bring your relief band and you are good to go. Right now, we've got an exclusive offer just for our That Sounds Fun friends. If you go to reliefband.com and use the promo code That Sounds Fun, you'll get 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com and use the promo code That Sounds Fun for 20% off plus free shipping. Okay, now back to finish up our Build Your Board conversation with Hunter and Devin.
That sounds fun.
Okay, so I'm thinking about our friends listening who are curious about, like, okay, they want to be influencers too. They want to make videos. They want to do that. A, do you suggest it? Is this something to pursue? And B, what does it even look like to start being an influencer?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I would tell them what I tell my friends. Like, I have friends who I'm just like, just go get it, go after it. Start. You just have to start somewhere and be consistent. Mm-hmm. Do I recommend it? Absolutely, because it changed our life and just even financially, instead of the financial freedom we have with it and just the being home. But it's also not for everybody. So I think if it's somebody who is passionate about it, I would be like, yeah, do it. But if somebody's just like, then maybe, I guess, is that what I would say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because also you're going to get a lot of hate.
Right.
So I have friends who do it now and have started. And that was one of my fears. I was like, just please know you're loved. And I just want you to know that before you start getting these comments, because it's inevitable that you're going to get online hate.
I feel like it's something like most any other job that you do have to be really passionate about it. It's not something that you can, I don't want to say take lightly, because that's kind of cliche, but it is like Devin said, you're going to get a lot of hate. You're going to get tired of doing it. It can be a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. A lot of people don't realize how much work it actually is. Yeah. So you just have to be passionate about it and know that you're going to stick through it and be consistent.
Yeah.
This is a theological question around that. I'm curious if you think, is it possible to disciple people online? Is it possible that y'all are actually discipling people in your influencing videos and in your content?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say so. Just based on conversations we've had with people and that, like I said earlier, I've started reading my Bible because of you, and just little things like that. I'm like, oh, it's
people. We get a lot of DMs saying things like that, but when we meet people in person and they tell us you got, I started going back to church, or I started reading my Bible, because of some of the things that you've shared. It's
go
it's really eye-opening.
Yeah.
To show how much influence you can really have on somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why we always wanted to, it's not us, it's God in us. Yeah. And so it's just wow, look at you go, God.
Yeah.
We're just vessels.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's it, right? Same. Who are some of your friends that you think, man, y'all should also be following? Who are some other influencers that y'all love rolling with that we may or may not already be following?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, there's a lot. I hope I don't forget any. If I do, love y'all if y'all are listening to this. I would say Cam and Mal. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Cam is actually who spoke. I believe God used as a vessel that night to speak in Hunter about the career change.
Yeah.
Very godly people. Casey and Casey, Taylor and Sophia. Who else is mine's blanking?
That's kind of our main little, I guess,
crew
circle, if you want to call it that. That we talk to the most regularly.
Yeah. that have like godly influence in our life.
Yeah. Those are great. That's a great answer. I don't think the list has to be 20 people deep. I think it's important for people to hear you say, like, here's our crew that we trust and we listen to and that we interact with. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, if our friends listening add you to their list of people they're praying for, what do you want them praying for the next year, till the end of 2024? If they said, yeah, we'll pray for you for the next 14 months, what do you want them praying?
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
I think for us just to, no matter what we go through or face or what the world says, that we just remember who our identity is in and like what we're actually doing it for, like our why, like never to forget our why and our purpose in it. Because you can see a lot of people end up losing themselves, which is so sad. It's the sad reality of being so public and in a really dark web, you know, but social media needs light too, you know? Yeah. So I guess just to keep being lights.
I'm not just saying this, but that's actually exactly what I was going to say. I just couldn't think of how to say it.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's a real genuine thing for people to pray for you. Like that feels really, yeah. Okay. Is there anything we didn't talk about y'all want to make sure we cover?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think
y'all are great at this. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, no, thank you. This is so
amazing.
We enjoy this.
Yeah.
I love it.
And you're so sweet. Like I know you're on a computer screen right now, but I can feel like your love for Jesus and just I can feel Jesus through the screen talking to you. So,
thanks.
Yes.
I really love him. So that means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And also the reason of all the internet people I could ever find, the reason I DM'd you was for a very similar reason of like, I feel like these people are so genuine about what they think about God and about Jesus that I want them to explain how to survive that life, like how to survive a public life when you deeply love Jesus. So I feel the same about y'all. So thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really true. Okay. The last question we always ask, because the show is called That Sounds Fun, both of you got to answer. Tell me what sounds fun to you.
What sounds
anything,
fun?
Absolutely anything. No, there's no budget. There's no schedule worries. It is whatever sounds fun to you.
Okay. I would love to be in a movie. That sounds fun.
Great.
Oh, I don't know. Mine would probably have to be something to do with dirt bikes again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dirt bike movie? Both of you?
I'll be Devin's stunt double.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Listen, Devin, we just need to connect you with Candace Cameron Bure and let her just get you as like a scene, like a behind the scenes, a background actress.
Background drinking coffee.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I ever want to be in those movies. I'm always like, Candace, I just want to be sitting at the table next to the people who are falling in love that are memorizing lines.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's what I told Hunter. I'm like, honey, I couldn't ever do a romance movie unless you're the other person.
Right.
But we can be like the family member or like.
That's right. The best friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an alert to Candace Cameron Bure that Devin and I would like to be background actresses.
We'll just carry on our conversation.
Yes. The 2024 Christmas movies on GAC. Watch for us. Here we come. Yes. We're doing it.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
That is our goal. For real, I'm seeing her tomorrow. I'm telling her. I am telling her.
Tell her.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
Hunter, we'll somehow get a dirt bike in this. I don't have quite a dirt bike connection. So.
It's all right. Yeah.
You can just be drinking your coffee with us.
Yeah. I'll be in there. I'll be in the background.
Great. See, we can just fly to Canada for a minute and be in a video. I mean, this is going to be great.
You could act and we could be the main character that are romance people.
I don't think I'd be very
I think
good
you
at
totally could, honey.
I'm not a good actor.
I believe in y'all. I'm also not great at being anyone but me. That's been my acting experience as I watch that and I'm like, who believes that is me? I need to be a background person who's drinking tea. People will believe that.
Yeah, that's funny.
So we'll just be background. Okay. Well, thank y'all for making time for this today. I'm so grateful. It was such a gift.
Thank you for having us. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. I loved it. Y'all can come back anytime. Oh, you guys, don't you love them? They are such a fun follow on social media. So go check them out. Thank them for being on the show with us. And if you want a full list of all the resources from our Build Your Board series, remember it's the guidebook, it's the quiz, it's all the episodes. And then we've also pulled some of our favorite books and podcasts and other resources based on the episodes. All of that is at anniefdowns.com/buildyourboard. Plus, if you have any questions from this episode, drop them in the Q&A box on your Spotify app if you're a Spotify listener, or please send them to us on Instagram at That Sounds Fun Podcast, and we'll try to answer them there for you. If you need anything else from me, I'm embarrassingly easy to find. Annie F. Downs on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the places you may need me. That's how you can find me. And I think that's it for me today, friends. Go out or stay home. Do something that sounds fun to you, and I will do the same. Today, what sounds fun to me is walking down the street around the corner and getting a hot chai. I need to get out of my house. Listen, I'm not sure I'm built for work at home, you guys, but we're doing it. I'm having a great time. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll actually see you back here tomorrow on Halloween for an episode with y'all, the host of one of my favorite podcasts. I cannot believe I get these two sets of friends back to back. Today with Devin and Hunter. Tomorrow, the guys from Blurry Creatures are here, you guys. Luke Rogers and Nate Henry are joining us tomorrow. I have zero chill about it. Y'all are going to love this episode. We'll see y'all tomorrow.